Thanks for making us number one.
The Lakeshore's finest mix of music. Mom FM.
102.7 WMOM, Pentwater, Ludington, Elbridge, and all of West Michigan. It's 8 o'clock. Good morning and welcome to Leading West Michigan, a show about success and featuring local leaders and people in local business. And now here's your host, Ryan Howe.
Good morning, West Michigan. We have a great show for you today. I'm Ryan Howe. I'm a business coach who helps organizations grow. I help companies like Matthew Six Construction, Larson's Landscaping, Safe Harbor Credit Union, and Lake Michigan Senior Living with every aspect of their company. Why wait? Start your business transformation today. Follow Summit Business Guides on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Also, connect with me on LinkedIn and learn more at summitbusinessguides.com. So this show is all about learning about our guest leadership journey, and joining us today is Lynne Russell, the Executive Director for the United Way of Mason County. Good morning, Lynne.
Good morning, Ryan.
I am so happy to have you here today to enjoy this beautiful weather we got here.
It's gorgeous.
This is, for those that know me, they know I hate winter. I hate snow, hate every bit about it. But when I woke up this morning, it was sunshine and just happiness out here. I'm glad that we're glad to share this with you today. It's gonna be great. So
me too.
So for those that don't know about the United Way, if you give a quick little overview, and then we'll get in about you.
Okay. So United Way of Mason County is a local nonprofit organization, and we play many different roles in the community, from leading direct programs and initiatives around like Mason County Family Link, the Employer Resource Network, and 211, to helping to fund different programs and initiatives such as COVE, Habitat for Humanity, True North Community Services for Housing, Staircase Youth Services, and many more.
Yeah.
And then we also play just a leadership role in the community in our efforts to try to bring people together and to step up to the plate when there's an initiative that needs to happen and there's nobody else to do that. But then be willing to hand that off.
Yeah, for sure.
Once it's fully developed. So we have served as a fiscal agent for many nonprofits that were just starting out, like the Lakeshore Food Club and Hospitality Inc., and back in the day when we had the YMCA. So I think the most important thing about United Way of Mason County that people don't realize is it is very locally driven, and that when you give through United Way of Mason County, 98% of your dollars stay local, and we don't receive any government state or federal government or dollars from United Way Worldwide to help us operate our organization.
Okay, so it is, again, it's the hub, kind of the nexus of all of the good things that people want to have happen around here. And the money that comes in stays here, which is great.
Right.
So, and that's great to hear. We're going to get more about that in our final block, too, about some of the way people can get involved, how they can take action, whatever that looks like.
Okay.
But for this show, we're all about you. So with that, where are you from, Lynne?
So I grew up in a small town called Portland, Michigan, which is located between Grand Rapids and Lansing. And I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and my mom and dad. My dad worked for a company called Diamond Reel and then later retired from a company called Spartan Motors. My mom was an accountant, and we very, very traditional family.
Sure. So how big is Portland for people like me who have no idea where that is?
I think it's about the size of Scottville. I would say about 4,000 people, and it's really never, has not really grown in population, but it is a hub. A lot of people will commute back and forth from Lansing or even Grand Rapids, but mostly Lansing that live in Portland.
Okay, great. And so sounds like you just had, again, like you said, very traditional family on that. That's great stuff. So with that, was the school, you went to school right there in Portland?
Yeah, so I went to Portland High School, not Portland St. Patrick's.
Okay.
And while I was in high school, I was very involved in athletics. I often say that athletics is really what kept me in school. I'll be honest, I was not the best student. But I played, my major sports were, I would say, basketball and track. And so we were actually the state champions for the mile relay.
Okay, that's awesome. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if what you did in track, because what I did in track was I was trying to think here. I basically hung out in the infield and just talked with everybody, and then randomly I'd go up and fail at some sort of run. That was my job, was to go get the point just by having somebody run. So sounds like you actually went in and performed there.
Yeah,
so.
I was. My main race was the 800, and then I did the quarter mile, the 400 meter now, and then the mile relay, and I was a long jumper.
Oh wow! Definitely see why you like athletics there. So now, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Lynne Russell, the executive director for the United Way of Mason County. I'm Ryan Howe. This is Leading West Michigan, and this show is all about learning about our guest leadership journey. We're hearing about the athletics you had. So again, I've actually found that to be the folks that are basketball. They tend to roll into track if they're not, if they're not softball players.
Right.
They just because you got. Trying to think, your conditioning's already there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
you said you didn't really care for school too much. Was there anything in the actual between the sciences, the math, and the English? Was there something there that you actually did enjoy, or was it just I'm done with class as soon as I can?
I loved physical education.
Okay, fair enough. Nothing wrong with that. I love that.
I would say the class I hated the most was math, and I will tell you that geometry was not my friend. And probably not even algebra, but I actually chose my major because back then, I graduated in 1979 from high school. So back then you could sometimes choose a major for college that did not require math.
Okay.
And so that was one of the foundations, other than just like basic math, like adding, subtracting, and all that stuff was fine.
And that leads me to a question. Obviously, we are FAFSA is a thing here. We were trying to get everybody at the schools signed up for so they can be eligible for federal the federal loans for student aid and things of that nature. Super important. I know huge initiatives across the board to get that. But with that, one of the reasons that folks don't do that is they're like, I don't want to go to college. I have no plans on it. Now, did you actually was going to college always in the mix for you, or is that something that just came to?
So it's interesting. I'm the middle child. I'm the youngest girl in middle child, and my oldest sister went to college, and then my second oldest sister, she did not go to college, and so my mom and dad did not really encourage me to go to college. They really thought that I should just go get a job, work in an office or something like that. And I think I have the personality of, if you don't think I can do it, I will show you that I can. So I'm very persistent in that way. And I actually ended up, so for me, college was always in the plan. My goal was always to run track in college. And while that didn't quite work out, I started at Lansing Community College and then went on to Michigan State University. And that was my goal. And I actually did much, much better in college than I did in high school.
Well, I love the fact you bring that up. So let's unwrap that a little bit there. It's been my experience that there's folks always on either side. If they did bad in school, they're going to do bad in college. And there's folks that do amazing in high school that they're going to do amazing in college when it comes to there. But there's a spectrum of folks in there that high school just wasn't for them.
Exactly.
But they get out to college like this is so much better. I can because of I don't know whatever the dynamic or whatever the group is, and they really thrive in college. And I found that to be one of the main drivers why we've always wanted to push people to go to college.
Yes.
Figure out who you are and see if this is, just because in high school didn't necessarily work out for you. I've known personally, dozens of people once they got to college, they took off. They basically bloomed amazingly. So it's good to hear there. But you mentioned you picked a degree without math.
Yes.
Okay. So what was that degree?
So my degree is actually in therapeutic recreation, but just as a side story. So I wanted to transfer from LCC to Michigan State, and they were going to discontinue their therapeutic recreation program. So back earlier, I said I didn't really like math, so I was like, well, I'll go into accounting because you just need to know how to add and subtract and do percentages and stuff like that. So I switched for a minute and went to accounting. But then as soon as I found out that Michigan State was going to continue their therapeutic recreation program, I decided to continue. And I think I chose that major because I love sports. And then I also love helping other people. Okay. And therapeutic recreation just allowed me to to work with persons with developmental disabilities or children with cerebral palsy or adults with a chronic mental illness on expressing themselves through playing sports and learning about teamwork and the importance of teamwork. And so I think that's kind of why I chose that major. And
okay. So because I was getting ready to, so I just want to, we can peel that apart a little bit more here. Again, we're continuing our conversation with Lynne Russell, the Executive Director for United Way to Mason County, and I'm going to ask for a good definition on therapeutic recreation, because I've been looking at it after you mentioned it, and I'm looking down at it, and I'm like, this sounds like people are playing sports to get better.
Yes. So it's like when you think about art therapy, people draw as a form of therapy, and so really therapeutic recreation is doing not just sports, but it could be a variety of types of activities that they might do. It might be a certain type of a craft activity. It could be bowling. So it's just all about teamwork, building self-esteem, and just really kind of like, I don't want to say it's therapy in a different way.
No, I get that. So I'm assuming because you're getting the getting referred from whichever doctors come down. So imagine you have to know a lot about the joints and kinesiology and things of that nature, well, so you can make sure that they're working towards the things that they need to. Right.
But the other part of it is really like you would find like a therapeutic recreation specialist more like in, so like my intern was in a mental health hospital.
Okay.
So you might find it more like in a nursing home, more in a structured type of environment, like a nursing home or a mental health institution. Not so much as where a doctor might make a referral to you as an individual basis.
Now I understand. Thank you for closing the loop on that.
Yeah.
Makes my brain a little bit to make some of those neuron connections. Yeah. So that's interesting. So you said I was going to ask where you did your internships at, because that's always a trip to find out where people go. So you said it was actually in a mental hospital, is that right? Yeah, so my final I did multiple internships, but my final internship was at St. Lawrence Psychiatric Hospital, and I really worked on a floor where it was really more people that were suffering from depression and anxiety and came into the hospital. In today's world, that probably wouldn't really happen. Okay. And so that's where I did my internship. But I also did another internship with the city of Lansing, excuse me. And I did I worked with adults that lived in a home and had cerebral palsy, and we had a gardening program. Okay. And so we had raised flower beds and vegetable gardens, and so I would work with them on growing those and meeting with them, and then also did a bowling program and things like that. So I had a variety of different types of internships with different populations of people. And of those internships, which one did you find the most beneficial for you? Not necessarily for long-term growth, or just like you said, this I just enjoy this. This feels right. Yeah. I would say, honestly, I got probably the most enjoyment out of working like with people more with that had some type of physical disability or developmental disability. Okay, that's great. Again, for those just joining us, this is Leading West Michigan. I'm Ryan Howe with Summit Business Guides, and we're talking with Lynne Russell, the Executive Director for the United Way of Mason County. And we just got through some interesting, again, I've never heard of that degree before, so that's why I'm just a little bit fascinated. So, again, apologies for my digging into that.
No,
it's very
awesome.
It's very interesting to me because I'm always deeply fascinated by people that first transition in life where they go to. Again, I chose the Air Force, and folks that knew me before I went in would have never even thought that I was going to go that direction. But I learned some stuff, and I went, okay, this is probably going to work out for me in the long term. Yes. And so I think it did. I met my redhead that way, so a lot of goodness there. Yes. So, sorry, Ashley's over here shaking her head at me. So the redhead's my wife, for those that don't know. So, all right. So where was the first work out of this then? How'd that go? You had these internships. Did you go back to one of them, or what did that look like? No. So actually, I had a great opportunity. And let's see, I graduated in 1984 in the spring. And literally 2 weeks after I graduated,
I was had an interview up here, what was then Mason County Community Mental Health, and they were looking for a therapeutic recreation specialist to work in their day treatment program. And that program doesn't exist anymore. And so I interviewed for that job, and I was actually called a day treatment therapist.
Day treatment therapist. So had you ever been up here before?
Oh, yes. So I felt so fortunate. So we used to vacation here all the time. But my husband, and we were getting married that August, had never been here before. Okay. And we had an agreement that whoever found a job first is where we would go. And I guess I was the lucky one. Oh. And I can remember calling him and said I was offered a job in Ludington. What do you think we should do? And he's just like, let's go for it.
Oh, that's awesome. So you said you vacationed up here with the family? Like, yes. where'd you stay? Or
we would camp at the Ludington State Park. And so actually my mom found the job listing in the newspaper because, back then, no computers.
Sure.
And so she's like, you should really apply for this job. And
yeah, she probably had her own reasons also to have you up here. So where had they relocated to? Are they still in Portland?
Yes. Okay. My mom still lives
in
Portland.
So she wanted to have a place to stay up here instead of having a camp. Yes, okay, I got it. Okay, that sounds like a parent's type of thing. I do that too, honestly, if I can convince my kids. So, okay, so you got up here and, with that, like, what was it like, again, that we got a couple minutes left here, but what's that transition look like now you've got through community college, right? You've gone from Portland, which is Scottville size. You made your way up to, Lansing. Obviously, that must have been a huge change with the large class sizes there. And now you're making your way up here to a place that you would get House of Flavors, for a couple weeks out of the year.
Yeah.
And now you're here full time. What was it like basically just landing at at your first job?
So it was really interesting. One, it was harder for me than I thought I would, than it would have been, adjusting to living in a small community again after being in Ludington. But, I worked with a great group of people, and our location was the house across from the courthouse on the corner of Delia and Ludington Avenue.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I worked with a great group of people, and so I did love my job initially. Yep. And so we did a day program, I think it was 9 to 3 every day, where persons with developmental disabilities or that were had a chronic mental illness would come in for a variety of types of activities, whether it was more of a physical type of activity or learning communication skills or life skills or things like that. And so I really enjoyed the job and really enjoyed the people that I work with. There was really a sense of family. Yeah,
so that's what I was going to ask. That's one thing, and I'm glad you said that because I want to go back a little bit on a couple things you said. For everyone out there listening, this is how we get talent to come up here is because they come up here to vacation. I think it's got to be in the 30th percent, at least 30th percentile of the folks I've interviewed. Mm-hmm. They vacationed up here. They stayed here at some point. And they're like, yeah, how can I live up there full time? Right. And we end up pulling folks up here. So that's great to hear. And again, with you landing over there, you said it was a welcoming environment.
Yes.
That is, again, I'm also not surprised by that. It's something I've just seen consistently over there. But who was your first boss?
Oh, boy. My first boss was Becky Sindretto.
Okay. And how was that working with Becky?
Oh, she was wonderful.
In what way?
Just very open, very understanding, open to ideas, ways of doing things. And so I just think flexibility, I just really liked, understanding.
No, that's great to hear. So for those of you who are out there who are first line supervisors and you have brand new folks that are coming in, that's definitely something to keep in mind here is that what you want to have is, be open to the person that you're getting. Yes, you are probably you don't realize the impact that you're going to have on this individual for the next 5 to 10 years within your industry. You come and you get a good boss right off the bat that helps you understand, because it takes a couple years to really get that institutional knowledge on how things operate.
Exactly. And I'm really a firm believer of servant leadership, in that I would never ask my staff to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. And the flip side of that is, there's not many things that I won't do. So If pledge cards need to be folded and there's nobody to do it, then
work's got to get done.
The work's got to get done.
Yep, absolutely. So as we're heading into our first break here, I guess that would be the little bit of leadership nugget out there for folks on this one is that you want to lead from the front. You should be willing to do everything that other folks do. And there's the number of times when I ran a chain of donut shops before I moved here, and I would go in towards the end of the shift that they were closing down, and I'd go clean out the bathrooms so that they could just focus getting the other stuff. They'd look at, what are you doing? I'm like, it doesn't bother me any. It's just it's part of the deal. You guys go work on those things. I can clean a toilet. Military trained me, trust me. So again,
definitely.
Yeah. So we're gonna head into our first break here in a second. So you're listening to Leading West Michigan on 102.7 WMOM at home on your Amazon Alexa or Google Home smart devices, streaming online at WMOM.FM and live video streams on the 102.7 WMOM Facebook page and WMOM YouTube channel. So let's get into that first break, and we get back, hear more about your adventures that you had at your first job.
Okay.
What if I were to tell you that there's a free checking account out there that is offering an annual percentage yield of 5%? That if you invest $10,000, you can earn $500. If you invest $15,000, you can earn $750 by just letting your money work for you. Well, with Safe Harbor Credit Union, this is exactly what you can get. Not only do you get 5% APY, you also get a free mobile banking app so you can bank on the go, refunds on ATM withdrawal fees, no monthly maintenance fees, and access to thousands of shared branches in every state in the country so you could get in-person service wherever you are. Plus, everyone qualifies for these rewards in their first month. Go to safeharborcu.org or visit 5511 West US 10 Ludington. That's safeharborcu.org. Member, owner, neighbor. Here, you're one and the same. Safe Harbor is federally insured by the NCUA.
Life can throw unexpected challenges our way, and sometimes it's tough to navigate the storm. At West Michigan CMH, we understand the difficulty of experiencing a mental health crisis or witnessing a loved one going through it. You're not alone, and help is available. Our compassionate team is here to support you every step of the way. Call us 24/7, 365 at 1-800-992-2061. That's 1-800-992-2061.
Looking for events and happenings in the area? Look no further than Mom's Fridge Magnets. Presented by Watson Motors, West Michigan CMH, McGee Insurance, and Lakeshore Automotive and Tire. Another fridge magnet comes your way next.
Swift service, unmatched expertise. Watson Motors Service Department is your go-to for top-tier care. Drive hassle-free. Choose Watson Motors for excellence in every detail. Discover the difference with Watson Motors.
Overdue for an oil change? Don't wait. Visit Lakeshore Automotive and Tire today for a quick, reliable service. Keep your engine running smoothly. Don't let those miles catch up with you. Head to Lakeshore Automotive and Tire, your go-to for a fast and efficient oil change.
The Great Start Collaborative and Early On are thrilled to share the new dates for Play and Learn at the River Community Center in Baldwin. It's a fantastic opportunity for children under 5 to engage in stimulating play and learning experiences essential for their rapid brain and skill development. The Play and Learn sessions are designed to offer babies, toddlers, and young children a wide array of early learning opportunities. Don't miss the chance to participate and nurture your child's development. Mark your calendars for April 10th from 10 to 11 a.m. and attend the event at the River Community Center in Baldwin. If your group or nonprofit organization has an announcement that you would like others to know about, reach out to us and we'll add it for free to the Fridge Magnet program thanks to Lakeshore Automotive and Tire, McGee Insurance, West Michigan, CMH, and Watson Motors.
It's Leading West Michigan, and we're back with your host, Ryan Howe, on 102.7 WMOM.
Welcome back, and I'm Ryan Howe from Summit Business Guides, and we're continuing our conversation with Lynne Russell, the Executive Director for the United Way of Mason County. And before the break, we had talked about your move over here to Mason County Community Mental Health.
Yes.
And again, working with that first supervisor that let you know you landed in a good spot. Mm-hmm. Now, what did the rest of your time there look like, and how did the transitions go there?
So I was actually afforded a lot of opportunities at Community Mental Health, and I believe that that's what really helped me prepare me to become the Executive Director for United Way of Mason County. But so I believe I worked in as a day treatment therapist for 2 years, and while I loved the job, it just wasn't challenging enough for me. And so there was an opportunity to start a new program called Supported Independent Living, and that was during the time of deinstitutionalization and everything. And there was a lot of people with developmental disabilities and that had a chronic mental illness that were living in foster care home. but really were able to live out on their own with a little support and didn't want to live in a foster care home. And so I started a program where I built relationships with landlords and provided support to the people that wanted to live out on their own, and helping them to find apartments, doing money management with them, taking them grocery shopping. And
sounds all okay. I think, yeah. I believe last week's guest is I had Lena Bluestein.
Okay.
Yeah, on here. And I'm like, you're saying something like that sounds familiar. Okay.
Yeah. So this was like with that very, and then I would work closely too with the client's case manager.
Okay.
And then I did that for about 2 years, and I decided I didn't know if I really wanted to be in direct care anymore, but I still wanted to be able to help people. And whether that would be more indirectly, that's kind of the direction I wanted to go in. And Kim Halliday, who was the director then for Mason County CMH, just really afforded me that opportunity to design and to move up into a more administrative position. So after that,
Before we move, I don't mean to cut you, because I want to ask a question to you, because you've got a bunch of stuff here, but you mentioned something where you said, you were afforded a lot of opportunities there. Thinking back and the way that you manage yourself now and look back and just try to pull any bias out you can, why do you think that they offered you so much, so many opportunities?
I think because I was dedicated and wasn't really afraid to take on some extra work. So, while I was still the manager for the supported independent living program, which was direct care, I was also working on taking a leadership role in redesigning the clinical records keeping system so that we were working from one single clinical record. And so I think the fact that I was willing to take that initiative and say, I'll do that.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I had a feeling. I had a feeling you were the person there saying, hey, would you be interested? And you're like, yeah, I think I want to give it a try. And I think it's just an innate curiosity that you have with that too. Is from just talking to the bit that we have, but also just seeing that and the ability to see things through.
I think it's really, I just really think it's important if somebody wants to move up the ladder. And I know there's a lot of different opinions of that, these days, I guess, for the lack of a better word. But I just really think it's important to take initiative and then follow through and complete what you said that you were going to do, and not be afraid to work a little bit extra if you need to climb that ladder. Now, some people would agree with me, with the really big movement between work-life balance. And I believe in that too.
Yep.
But it also too depends on where you want to get in life.
Now, want to get back into your next job there, but just to build on that point there, you didn't do that alone either, though. I bet if you had questions or concerns, the team was there to help you with whatever you need, right?
Exactly, and we would work together as a team. So, for example, when we were talking about redesigning the clinical records management system, so we had a single record, we had a long conversation about why should a client have to have 3 different treatment plans and 3 different sets of goals? And does it really make sense? And is it fair to them? Mm-hmm. How do we expect them to get better when they're working on maybe 9 different things and people are telling them 9 different things? And so we would work together as a team about, okay, what could this look like?
Yeah.
And then just carrying it out to the next level.
Yeah, I remember that evolution. I saw it in the mid '90s per se, but in a lot of class. But I saw it in the military too, where all those stovepipes, they started knocking them down, saying this isn't working.
Right.
It's inefficient, ineffective, and frankly, it's affecting, in this case, the customer, but in your case, your patient that you have there. Right. So that's good to see.
Yeah. So, it was about really within the institution or within the organization, breaking down that silo and removing the barriers that prevent people from getting better.
No, that's great. So, so you said, now back on, sorry again, thank you for letting me cut off, but it was a really salient point that I wanted to make sure that folks understood that piece, because, the people that do tend to that get asked to do things all the time, there's a reason. It's because you're probably good at what you're doing, and we can depend on you to get those things done. So with that, the work you're doing working with the case managers, you figured after a couple of years that also wasn't the right fit for you as well. So
No. And then I was given the opportunity to move into and people would laugh at me like, why would you like to do this? But I was a recipient rights officer. So that was really a great role because I was able to still work with clients if they felt like their rights were being violated, like whether that's confidentiality or how they were treated by a staff person. I would look into those and investigate them. But then I was also really able to move into policy development and standards compliance. So when when the state or Joint Commission on Accreditation, any accrediting bodies would come in, I would oversee those. I'm drawing
as far as the inspections or the request, I've done policy as well.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
Again, I'm also one of those nerds that digs into contracts and stuff
Right.
and tears them apart. So,
Right.
But I can see where you would get that. It's also ability to affect greater change in a wider
Right.
area on things as well.
Right. And so, I was able to do a lot of that along with, and then what came after that was, as a result of all of that, I would fill in. So like when our human resources director would leave, I would also do that kind of work. But then we started to transition where the state was requiring us to consolidate. And that's where I was a part of helping to consolidate Mason County CMH, Oceana County CMH, and Lake County CMH, which now today is, and that I believe happened between 1996 and 1997, and which I was a big part of that consolidation, which is now West Michigan Community Mental Health.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we're continuing our conversation with Lynne Russell here, the executive director for United Way in Mason County. So yeah, West Michigan CMH. That's and again, those consolidations are always tough too, because you have a lot of people that this is the way we've always done it, and let alone bringing two groups together, trying to bring three must have been a challenge.
It was a challenge, and then just the legalities that go with that, because nobody could lose, have a decrease in the rate of pay. Nobody could lose a benefit. Mason County mental health at that time was unionized, and I think they are unionized now, but Lake and Oceana County weren't. So it's just bringing all those dynamics together and just working through all the personalities.
Yeah, I would say, and with those things, it's the personalities is always the one that where administrators and the leaders, they earn their paycheck.
Yes.
Because and it's just, I've always looked at it this way though. It's a sign of people who care about their work that they get emotionally invested in it. If someone says we're going to do it this way now, but if you've spent 15 years building out processes that basically an administrator says we're not doing that anymore, there's a bit of a gut punch to that,
Right.
and be able to help them understand that end of the day you did this to be able to help your your clients, the patients.
Yes.
So this is going to help them also. So we're going to head into our next break here. When we get back, we could hear a little bit more about your journey from here as you started heading towards and you landed in United Way. I'm excited for that. Okay, so you're listening to Leading West Michigan on 102.7 WMOM, at home on your Amazon Alexa or Google Home smart devices, streaming online at WMOM.FM, and live video streams on the 102.7 WMOM Facebook page and WMOM YouTube channel. So let's get into that break, and we get back, get to hear about how you made the transition over to United Way.
Okay.
Hey there, students of Benzie, Grand Traverse, Mason, Manistee, Muskegon, and Oceana counties. Have we got news for you? West Shore Bank is rolling out the red carpet of opportunity just for you. 6 incredible scholarships worth $1,000 each, waiting to find their way into the hands of deserving students like you. Applying is a breeze by visiting westshorebank.com and applying online. Or if you're feeling a bit more old school, grab that pen and paper and mail in your application, along with the required documents. Mark April 12th, 2024 at 11 p.m. on your calendar, because this deadline for applicants is fast approaching. Don't let this chance slip through your fingers. Just imagine the relief of lightening the load on your educational expenses. This scholarship could be the key. And the best part? All applicants will receive that golden email in May, revealing the status of their applications. The thrill of victory awaits. So if you're a student in Mason, Manistee, Benzie, Oceana, or Grand Traverse counties, this is your moment to shine. Seize this chance. Make your educational dreams a reality and let West Shore Bank invest in your future. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome to Oakview Medical Care Facility. We are a dedicated service provider, proudly serving Mason County since 1966. Currently, we are expanding our team and have exciting opportunities for nurses to lead our second and third shifts. We aim to deliver a holistic approach to care for our residents. Join Oakview today. To apply, visit our website or stop by and pick up an application. You can explore other available positions at oakviewmcf.com and become a part of our committed team.
Aaron Doan here. I have some exciting news. State Farm Insurance is here to change the game with unbeatable insurance bundles. Save big, simplify life. Imagine one agent, one bill, and an average savings of over $1,073 a year. Auto and home, auto and condo, auto and renters. Bundles made just for you. Contact Aaron Doan State Farm Insurance today at 231-757-3115. That's 231-757-3115. State Farm, for over 100 years of trusted expertise. Why settle for ordinary? Bundle with the best and enjoy savings and protection. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When it comes to dependable towing services, Abrahamson's Towing stands out. In the harshest winter conditions, when other towing companies hesitate to respond, Abrahamson's Towing hits the road, fully prepared to serve the community. Regardless of the weather, Abrahamson's remains steadfast in providing reliable assistance. Whether you require a jump, lockout assistance, or help with running out of gas, Abrahamson's Towing is your trusted source for roadside support. The company collaborates with most major motor clubs to ensure comprehensive service. For the most reliable towing in Mason County, make the call to 231-843-2990. 231-843-2990. Abrahamson's Towing is committed to never letting you down.
It's Leading West Michigan, and we're back with your host, Ryan Howe, on 102.7 WMOM.
All right, welcome back. And again, before the break, we had a great conversation with Lynne Russell, the executive director for the United Way of Mason County, about leadership and kind of what that is, that initial piece when you come into an organization or anywhere, just saying yes when opportunities are there, because it's the weirdest thing ever. You open one door opens to you. As you go through it, 4 more open.
Yes.
And your options grow.
Yes.
And as you go, and then I go through one of those 4, now it's 16 options are in front of you. It consistently grows your ability to do things. So with that, how did things look for the rest of your time at CMH, and then what did that transition look like towards United Way?
So, so I went through the consolidation, and I think then my final leg of the journey at CMH was I was doing total quality management. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm a supply chain manager. Yeah.
That one hurts me every time I hear it. Okay.
And along continuing to do the standards compliance and things like that. But then I just decided that it was just time to move on.
Sure.
And United Way of Mason County was going to be hiring their first full-time executive director. And so I interviewed for the job.
So what was that interview like? You mentioned it was time to move on. I guess before we go into that, what did you mean like it was time to move on? What did that feel like? Or you just felt it, or what?
Yeah, I guess it was just a gut feeling that I had. It wasn't about the title. It wasn't about the money. Mm-hmm. It was just time for me to try something new and different and spread my wings a little bit more.
Got it. That's a risk that, a lot of folks have to take. But as a reminder to folks out there, the vast majority of us have pivoted multiple times into our adult lives about the work that we do. And you've got to take some, but it involves a little risk. So you went and interviewed with United Way. What was that interview like?
It was pretty intense. I think when it was in the lower level of the hospital, which was the Memorial Medical Center, and Bob Marquardt, I don't know how many people remember Bob, but he was the president and CEO of that time. And he was also the chair of our board at that time. And I think there was about 6 people around the table just throwing questions at me. And then at the end, they all came in. Then the whole board, there was a meet and greet. Mm-hmm. And then I'm trying to think what happened. And then I believe there was at least probably another month wait before I was actually offered the job.
So they made you sweat for a month. I like that. That's good. So
yeah, I was like, okay, we really liked you, but So, and then I think after that I transitioned over to becoming the executive director of United Way. But while at the same time, I didn't really want to leave CMH in a lurch, and they were coming back for their second survey follow-up with Joint Commission. And so I agreed to go back for a period of time, just a short period of time, to be there while the survey people were there doing the Joint Commission survey and following that through.
No, that may make sense to be able to jump in and do that. Obviously it's important. You've done a lot of work there. I think United Way had gotten along without you for a little bit of time. They could probably take a couple more months without you.
Right.
But that's important for that transition because, again, CMH, it's an important piece.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So we're continuing our conversation with Lynne Russell, the executive director for the United Way of Mason County. So now you're in the seat.
Now I'm in the seat.
What was that like the first couple days, first couple weeks?
It was interesting. So that was in 1997 that I became the first director. We were in the building over by, it's a dermatology place now. And we were renting that entire building and then subletting it out to other nonprofit agencies. And so it was really interesting because there had been nobody in the executive director role probably for a few months. And so the mail was like stacked mile high. And then just learning the ins and outs about United Way and thinking that it was really more controlled by United Way Worldwide and what was then called United Way of America. And then learning that it really wasn't. And so just learning the ins and outs about United Way, the organization.
Yeah, I mean, especially, I imagine there was probably a lot of conversations you had to have with, again, the donors, getting rid of the staff, and also now you're in full time in there. I imagine there was a levy of expectations from the board as well.
Well, and the thing of it is, when you talk about staff, I had a part-time assistant. And also, it also gave me the opportunity to see what was working, what was not working. Like, for example, I laugh now, but our accounting we had literally a check register that we would write checks, and then on the invoice, we would do the invoice, and then we'd send all of our bill to be paid, or not to be, to have all of our bookkeeping done by an outside entity, by another accounting firm. And so I quickly realized that did not really work for me to be able to keep a handle on the finances. And so then the process we went through to bring that all in-house.
Yeah.
And so it was just an interesting journey, learning about member agencies and the dynamics that go into that and how we fund agencies. And really at that time when I started at United Way, that was our focus. We went out, we did an annual campaign, and then we took the dollars that we raised from the annual campaign and allocated it back out to the agencies. And that's just what we did.
Okay.
And for me, that was just not fulfilling enough.
Yeah. Fulfilling as in just it. So you needed to be a bit more instead of just, I hate to say, an administrative pass-through. But is that what you're saying? It kind of just felt like for you?
Yeah. Like we were just like, so we were saying like, okay, we're addressing the most pressing issues in our community. We're funding quality programs and services. So, but how do we know that as an agency just by reading proposals? I mean, how do we really know that funding the same agencies year after year are still fulfilling the most pressing issues of our community?
Okay.
And so then we began the journey of looking and went through an extensive journey of doing a community needs assessment, interviewing community leaders, holding focus groups throughout the community to learn more about the role we should be playing in the community.
What did you learn from those surveys?
It was really interesting about how people felt like we should be playing more of a leadership role in the community. We should be more involved in bringing nonprofit organizations together to remove silos and barriers that prevent people from getting the help. It was kind of pretty consistent across the board, either with leadership surveys or the general public, that we should not fund the same agencies year after year, that it should be an open request for proposal process, and that we should really be focusing on areas around like financial stability, positive youth development, and healthy lifestyles.
Okay.
And so we took a 3-year, I think, kind of formulated a plan, took a 3-year process of withdrawing from the of having traditional member agencies anymore, to today where we have an open request for proposal, where anybody, as long as they meet the guidelines and can work towards achieving the outcomes that have been identified, can apply for funding.
So, I got a couple minutes to our next break here. So what was the conversations like when that decision was made to put it to the open RFP? And, because you're trying to navigate what had always been done to what you have it. So there's obviously some conversations that took place.
Right. And so it was also about, because also as a result of that, we were funding programs that would no longer be eligible for funding. And so it was like, okay, what would the political fallout of that be? And will there be a political fallout? The other part of it was that is if we adjust and do what the community says that we should be doing, then that should help us too with our fundraising efforts, right?
That's the theory.
And so I thought it was a good theory. And so we kind of, I guess, took the risk.
Okay.
And made that change, knowing that we were listening to the community and not necessarily doing what we personally felt was in our own personal best interest.
Okay.
So, and then the other part of that was just learning out how else we could be playing a leadership role in the community.
No, absolutely. And again, that's part of being a leader is taking those risks.
Right.
I've known plenty of individuals that have taken the risk and it didn't necessarily work out for them. And others folks that it has. It's just one of those things you do. It's why you're in the seat to be able to make those type of decisions. And again, as you mentioned, deal with the political fallout. So we're going to head into our final break when we get back. Hear a little bit more about the works you've done with United Way, and then currently what's going on, what's coming up, and how people can get involved.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that. So you're listening to Leading West Michigan on 102.7 WMOM, at home on your Amazon Alexa or Google Home smart devices, streaming online at WMOM.FM, and live video streams on the 102.7 WMOM Facebook page and WMOM YouTube channel. So let's get into that final break. When we get back, we'll finish up here with Lynne Russell, the Executive Director for the United Way of Mason County.
This isn't just any basketball tournament. It's a community event that brings together people from all walks of life to celebrate our love for the game in our city. Volunteering at the Gus Macker is your opportunity to be part of something truly special. Whether you're a seasoned volunteer or looking to make your debut, your contribution will help create an unforgettable experience for players and fans alike. By joining our volunteer team, you'll play a crucial role in hosting a smooth and successful event. From assisting with setup and takedown to supporting the games and ensuring everyone has a great time, your efforts will be at the heart of the tournament's success. Plus, it's a fantastic way to meet new people, enjoy the outdoors, and soak in the electrifying atmosphere of the Gus Macker. Don't miss this chance to contribute to the 32nd year of the Ludington Gus Macker and the 50th year of Gus Macker history. We're looking for passionate individuals who are ready to bring their energy and smiles to Stearns Park, right along the beautiful shores of Lake Michigan. Whether you're into sports, looking to give back to your community, or just want to be part of a fun and energetic team, we have a spot for you. Head over to ludingtonmacker.com to sign up as a volunteer and mark your calendars for June 15th and 16th. Whoa!
Do you need a commercial-grade surveillance system to protect your business or property? SyncWave designs and installs purpose-built systems to give you the video capabilities you need. Enjoy the latest technology, cutting-edge camera features, advanced alerting, and recording capacity matched to your unique needs. Call SyncWave to discuss your surveillance needs and learn about your options. Call SyncWave at 231-845-1065 or visit synkwave.com. That number again, 231-845-1065.
Mom's Fridge Magnets are community calendar announcements presented by Watson Motors, West Michigan, CMH, McGee Insurance, and Lakeshore Automotive and Tire. Another fridge magnet comes your way next.
Hi, this is Lori from West Michigan CMH. If you are a resident of Lake, Mason, or Oceana County and are ready to quit smoking, join our smoking cessation group. You can choose group sessions, one-on-one support, or convenient telehealth options. Your path to a smoke-free life starts now. Call 1-800-992-2061.
cold and flu season is right around the corner. You want to make sure you and your family are covered from the unexpected. At McGee Insurance Group, we have dedicated agents that specialize in health benefits tailored for you and your workforce. We're open weekdays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and are located next to Pizza Hut on US 10 in Ludington. Our number is 231-845-5000. Contact us today. See what options are available for you.
Pathfinder Library in Baldwin is excited to announce an engaging event featuring the esteemed morel picker Anthony Williams on April 17th at 6 p.m. This event is designed for both experienced mushroom pickers and newcomers alike, offering valuable insights and perspectives on the art of picking morels. If your group or nonprofit organization has an announcement that you would like others to know about, reach out to us and we'll add it for free to the Fridge Magnet program thanks to Lakeshore Automotive and Tire, McGee Insurance, West Michigan, CMH, and Watson Motors.
It's Leading West Michigan, and we're back with your host, Ryan Howe, on 102.7 WMOM.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Howe, and we're on our way to the we're on to the final segment with Lynne Russell, the executive director for the United Way of Mason County. Again, we just went through kind of the transition that occurred, and now, what is you've had the opportunity to oversee and be part of some huge, basically, I guess we'd say monuments that are now here in Ludington, Mason County. What are some of the ones that you look back finally saying, this is great that we were able to get this done?
Yeah, so I would say were some neat initiatives that we played a huge leadership role was the formation of Hospitality Inc. Staircase Youth Services and myself, we listened to a presentation that we heard out of Traverse City called Safe Harbor, and brought that back to the community as a way to help begin to address the homeless issue in Mason County. Also, the other one would be the Lakeshore Food Club. We played a huge leadership role by bringing nonprofit organizations and people that are providing food pantries together to kind of create really more of a state-of-the-art grocery store kind of like style.
Well, I was going to say, I've been over there a few times, actually more than a few times, just to kind of learn about the facility and see what they're, is it Onelia?
Yes.
So with the work, that is one of the most fascinating food clubs I've seen, the way it's set up, just in the, you're right, grocery store, folks walk in, but on the back end, it is literally a logistics hub for all the food donations coming in and management of all that thing. So it's a full-time gig.
Right. And so how we discovered that model was, I was actually down in Grand Rapids meeting with Heart of West Michigan United Way and talking about some of the work that we were doing up here. And so they took me over to the Grand Rapids Food Club. And that's kind of how we were introduced to the model and then how it became to be. So really excited about that. Another initiative that we took a huge leadership role in was childcare. Still really involved with childcare, even though we don't fund anything around childcare. But that was the creation of Oak Tree Academy, and that was something that I did work with the Pennies from Heaven Foundation on, and a much needed service. So while people might not see, United Way's role in the community is about making positive change and addressing the most complex social issues and bringing people and resources together. But resources just don't always have to be financial. They can be taking a leadership role when you see a need and nobody will step up to the plate to do that. But then having a willingness to be able to hand that off once it's been developed and created. And so that's why I speak of Oak Tree Academy and the Lakeshore Food Club and Hospitality Inc. And, we also, especially like Hospitality Inc. and the Lakeshore Food Club, how we served as their 501c3 so that they could go out and solicit donations until they were able to obtain that. So we believe that we can provide a lot of different types of resources in the community beyond just awarding money to agencies. Another two initiatives programs that we run directly is Mason County Family Link, and that's a partnership where we have with area school districts and West Shore Community College, where we have a community schools coordinator that works right on site to remove barriers that could prevent students and families from being successful in school and in life in general. And then we also have the Employer Resource Network, where we have a resource coach that works in 10 companies. And so we work in partnership with those 10 companies along with West Shore Bank to help employees remove barriers that could, again, provide affect their work performance or just in life in general. And those could range.
Yeah, so what are some examples of that?
So it could be a transportation issue, it could be a housing issue, but it could be my mom was just diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and I don't know where to get support from. Or I think I have a substance use issue. How could I get help for that? Where could I go? And then guiding them through the resources. I mean, let's be honest, the Health and Human Service system is complex. At best.
Yeah, wait, are you saying that there's a government program that is complex? That must be a new one. Must be the only one. Okay, I haven't heard that before.
And so sometimes, like, I'm really on a mission. Like, my mantra really is, and if you came into my office, I have a huge sign that goes over the top of my window that says to think differently. And I think as United Way of Mason County, we have a role in trying to push people to think differently about how we deliver health and human services in our community and to break down unintentional barriers that prevent people from getting the help that they need.
Yeah.
And I really feel like we have a huge role to play with that. And so I know a lot of times I get a lot of negative pushback from that, but I really encourage people and push people, especially leaders of nonprofit organizations, to think differently about how they're providing services and what are we doing as a collective, and being able to really step back and look at what's working and what's not working. And just because it's not working doesn't mean it's a bad thing. And I think that's where people really get mixed up. It's not a bad thing. It's just not the right thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so what does success look like in our community? I tell people we are more resource rich than what we have ever been. But yet, the poverty levels are still as high as what they've ever been. Graduation rates haven't changed a lot, although they're not bad.
Yep.
In the list of issues, homelessness has not improved. So what do we need to be doing differently as a community, not one organization?
Yeah, that's I've been hearing that more and more. I've got friends around the country and around the planet, but one of the things that we talk about consistently is like, what issues are you guys seeing in your area? It's one thing with the military, God bless us all, but very few of us that leave, especially those folks who retire, we all end up serving in our communities one way, shape, or form and seeing those same things. And that has been the consistent piece I've been hearing is like the lack of results-based thinking on a lot of the charities in and around the nonprofits.
Right, and so I just think it's really important, and we just need to get to that level if we really want to make change in our community.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a couple minutes till show's gonna be over here. So if people want to get involved, how do they find you, or how do they reach out? What does that look like?
So they can always go to our website at www.masoncountyyuw.org. They can call, which I prefer, 843-8593, the United Way office. And there's a variety of ways people can get involved, whether they want to be on a committee like the Suds on the Shore Committee, Festival of Trees, like special events. If you're between 22 and 35, we're starting an emerging leaders group.
Okay. We talked about that. It was pretty interesting about that. That's
and
awesome.
It's been fascinating, and it's been really a breath of fresh air where they're really interested in developing, like having a networking, but also learning more about the community and learning more about agencies and funding micro grants out in the community. So it's really forming. They've had a couple meetings, and so we're going to develop it together.
Yeah, no, that's great. And again, there's so much more. We could, obviously fill a couple hours with everything, your impact on here. So, but again, that's about all the time we have for today. Again, Lynne, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Well, thank you for having me and for thinking of us.
Oh, no worries. Again, I can say definitively that this area is in a much better place with a leader like you where you're at and the impact you've had over over the years. So for those of you who aren't following Summit Business Guides on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, you are missing out on a lot of the information I share with my clients. I'm easy to find. Just search for Summit Business Guides and click that subscribe button. You'll be glad you did. Also, be sure to connect with me personally on LinkedIn. And if you'd like to connect for a deeper conversation about how I might be able to help you, send me a note at ryan@summitbusinessguides.com. Thank you to everyone who tuned in today. I hope you have a great weekend and you get a chance to enjoy another great day here in West Michigan.
You've been listening to Leading West Michigan with Ryan Howe, a weekly program where you hear success stories of local officials and business leaders.